NBA stars, well beloved and cherished their first couple seasons before the critics start to lash out on them. Whether it's a bad playoff performance, guys making controversial decisions, whether they want to play or not, or stars not living up to their $200 million contracts. How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Too much has happened since the bubble pandemic P era. Now Paul George more respected, and many have moved on from bashing him. With lots of big namers getting crushed constantly by the media and fans, let's take a look at 10 big name players heading into the 2023 season most heavily disrespected. Starting with John Wall of the Los Angeles Clippers, who's been locked in playing lots of pickup all summer. Many started giving him more respect after the tragedy he dealt with the last couple years wasn't his full self. One of the craziest stats, all the amounts of games he's missed last 5 seasons. Retired for over 3 years, Dirk Nowitzki still played more games than him since 2017. Called names such as not a franchise player and overrated.
John Wall doesn't even have a $169.3 million contract extension that has kicked in yet. It kicks in next year. And was playing like garbage himself until he got called out. Put on your big boy pants, John Wall. Not that simple. That's not how this works. You can't come into camp out of shape. You can't look like you was hanging out in South Beach drinking tequilas. I'm not saying he was. I said looking like it. You didn't know this is what comes with being a max player getting paid max dollars, although you can't fill up an arena because it's half empty because they don't believe in you in the nation's capital? You didn't know? This was a surprise to you? Really?
Some even question whether he's an NBA quality player anymore. 32 years old, hasn't fully lived up to expectations as a former #1 pick. 4 postseasons and 9 seasons with the Wizards, limited to just a year and a half total playing time from the start of the 2017-18 season. Was under the impression teaming up with Harden, but the beard wanted no part of him. For a guy once considered a top 10 to 12 player in the league in his prime, it was Wall responsible for giving average Joes like Otto Porter and Marcin Gortat lots of money they were undeserving of. Many still can't get over the fact that 1 full season went by with a healthy Wall not playing. At least Houston finally brought him out and LAC signed him for 2 years 13. A low risk high reward bargain. A floor general who could facilitate, doesn't need to be the #1, 2 or even 3rd option. Deep down, over 95% of Wizards fans secretly ecstatic about Wall just getting a chance to play again. A super athletic, explosive point guard in his prime. If Wall can shoot the 3 ball at a respectable rate and help the Clippers win games, he'll earn tons of respect back. Rudy Gobert, even as recently as Luka's absurd one-legged jumper over the solid defense of Rudy, getting bashed for that, super unnecessary. Public enemy #1, whether many like it or not, nothing is changing the fact that Rudy Gobert, already a 3-time defensive player of the year, will be a future Hall of Famer. A huge part of the Jazz defense, can't blame him for his teammates' lack of D. One man cannot cover the entire area of the floor because Gobert gets cherished by the analytics crowd. Ballers love to diminish his impact as a player. Pat Bev pleasing, Gobert doesn't guard the best offensive players on the opposing teams, who was just a throw-in for a ridiculous trade package. Loaded draft picks for the 30-year-old. Former All-Star Tracy McGrady bashed Gobert on his lack of offense this past summer.
What I be wondering, what the fuck are you doing in the offseason, dog? Straight up. No bullshit. Nothing. Like, what is your workout?
You should have hooks, bro.
Shooting free throws.
You should have a floater.
Man, I was so mad at Rudy when they were playing against the Rockets one year, bro, and Chris Paul was guarding him in the post. I was mad as shit. He couldn't do nothing. Nothing. Bro, you 7'2", and a point guard is guarding you. He had no move.
Combined with blowing playoff series leads to Denver, getting dominated by superstar Jokic, to blowing a 25-point lead to the shorthanded Clippers, showing his vulnerabilities out the perimeter. For a top 3 rebounder and shot blocker, combined with playing in Utah was not very appealing. If Gobert played in LA with LeBron, he'd be getting the Kemba Mutombo, Bill Russell comparisons. A way better version of Tyson Chandler. No player back then was bashing Tyson's lack of post moves. If Rudy was American, I truly believe Gobert would be much more respected respected by tons of players. Zion Williamson, from his injuries to missing a full season to many making fun of his weight, the now 22-year-old has many questioning his work ethic, whether he loves the game or not, does he take care of his body enough. Former teammate JG Redick ripped Zion for not welcoming proven good player CJ McCollum to the team.
Like, this just shows a complete lack of investment in your team, in the organization, in the city. I get that he's hurt and away from the team, but you just traded for one of the 50 best players in the league, a guy that's supposed to be paired with you. Reach out and say hello.
While CJ already accomplished more as a Pelican than Williamson himself.
This is a pattern of behavior with Zion that we are seeing again and again. And look, I was his teammate. I can describe him as a detached teammate. That is an accurate statement. This is basic level of humanity being a teammate. Send a text to a guy when he gets traded to your team.
Although Redick's on point with everything mentioned, it makes many dislike Zion even more. Heck, even Pelicans fans turned on him. Anybody who's ever partied in New Orleans knows how lit downtown gets, especially Bourbon Street. The annual Mardi Gras, one group went full savage mode with the ultimate disrespect, painting this picture ridiculous. People laughing and giggling about it. That's one excuse for Zion to want to leave that franchise, but they made the postseason without him. It's up to the former #1 pick to owe it to his team. From getting caught sleeping on the bench, one of the best young stars when healthy, 27 a game in his sleep. Huge upside, but the weight issues with the injuries piling up from his knees to foot to ankle, will he be able to maintain his style of play for the next decade?
Chuck, you had a visceral reaction to this.
It looked like me and Shaq had a baby. I'm joking and I'm serious. What do he look like? It's like, ooh, Shaq, we had a baby over the summer.
Needs to add more finesse to his game. His discipline will be watched, many will be judging. Devin Booker, after mocking the way better Luka Doncic to only getting destroyed. Much of the backlash very justified, from being part of the Kardashian curse trend, being the best player for the most of the season on a 64-win team, first team All-NBA, regular season success should be celebrated. Given all the team struggles before Chris Paul's arrival, extreme hate when being named to the 2K cover, Chris Paul pretty much got all the love from the media when Phoenix was dominating. Booker's name barely gets mentioned, averaging 27 a game on a team that finished 8 games better than the second seed. Even with Paul out, Booker continued Phoenix's success, averaged 30 points on 54% shooting, a 6-game win streak without CP. At the end of the day, if Booker plays a healthy next 10 seasons, being the 4th youngest to reach 11,000 points, will have 30K easily before retiring. Patrick Beverley wasted no time bashing Book after losing to Dallas.
What has he done before? I mean, of
well,
course.
People were saying he could become the face of the league.
I'm saying, and I agree with that. They're gonna make him the face of the league. They gonna do that regardless because his face is perfect for it. He's a 6-pointer star, and I've never seen that in person. What does that mean? That means that you don't really see those type of stars all the time. They come and go. He's not, man. He's not a star.
And of course, Stephen A. during the 2021 postseason said Booker was the next Kobe Bryant.
Devin Booker is the next Kobe Bryant.
James Harden, the Beard heavily bashed for his partying, going to the strip clubs and underperforming in the playoffs. That's been his reputation for the last decade. One of the greatest offensive weapons the game has seen, arguably should have been a multiple-time MVP winner, from wanting to be out of Brooklyn quickly after demanding out of Houston a year before, and even making himself look super heavy. Those actions severely rubbed many the wrong way. Now age 33, past his prime, the Beard's been taking his game more seriously this offseason. Father time not something to mess with. Given the hamstring injuries, Harden was painfully limping out there against Milwaukee, got bashed for playing poorly, understandably bad performance, a decision that could haunt him going forward, looked awful last season, bad efficiency from a messy Nets team with the Kyrie saga and KD getting hurt again, from averaging over 36 a game just 3 years ago to failing to sniff 20 points a game this past postseason.
Harden is not a max player anymore. He's not Houston's James Harden anymore. That guy is gone. James Harden was so bad, so horrible last night. It almost looked intentional.
James Harden was outplayed by 2 guys named Max Strus and Gabe Vincent.
It's all or nothing for him near the tail end of his career, up to him to take care of his body and adapt to sustain a longer career. Kevin Durant, from demanding a trade to putting every free agent on hold for 2 months, blamed KD the reason why 2022 free agency been extremely boring for the most part, no real basketball talk for 7 straight weeks. Every analyst covering the league could have taken a real vacation. NBA legend Charles Barkley always speaks his mind, though many agree with him.
What was happening when he was driving the bus?
He lost in the finals.
Yeah, okay, he did. And then when he was in Oklahoma City again.
But he was driving. You don't think he was the bus driver in Golden State?
No, I do not.
You don't think he was the best player on that team?
No, I do not.
After Golden State won without him, many strongly feel his 2 finals MVPs becoming less valuable.
He's going to have to win a championship as the bus driver. Listen, he joined that team had already won a championship, so no disrespect, that's just a fact. The old guys like myself, hey, KD's an all-time hell of a player, but until he is the guy on a championship team, we're not going to ever give him the respect, that he probably deserves. And that's just the way it is.
Golden State, no doubt, still be contenders without him those 2 seasons, from getting suffocated by Boston's defense. Sir Charles, if he was talking and playing today as a superstar, talking trash with KD, the popcorns from every basketball town would be sold out.
You know, all the old guys, he get mad when we said he piggybacked on the Warriors to win his first 2 championships. But if you go back and look at his career, as the best player and being a leader that all goes with that, he's been an abject failure. Every time he's been like the guy who has to be the leader and the best player, he has not had success.
It's true.
And that's what us old guys think about him until he becomes the leader and best player on a championship team, where he has to deal with all the responsibility, all the media stuff that goes with it, expectations. So we're always going to hold that against him. But man, he just seems like a miserable person, man. I call him Mr. Miserable. He's never gonna be happy.
Mr. Miserable, bashing on Durant for joining a super team is one thing, but to denigrate a man's character, of course, KD upset and takes it personally. The ongoing Twitter exchange is hilarious, a combination dealing with 2 other disgruntled stars on the Nets. Durant simply has not proven to lead his team. After leaving Golden State, every time Brooklyn loses, it'll be easy to blame KD on his lack of leadership. Only a championship with the Nets can bring all this hostility to rest. Kyrie Irving, no other player has taken more heat for off-court reasons, making his own personal decision. I'm not going to get into that, but the 30-year-old has become a target for guys like Stephen A. Smith to bash on, from calling him all these negative names, nothing in relation to his game.
Kyrie Irving ruined the franchise. I feel that all of this is his doing. If Kyrie Irving had shown up to work, if he had been a more consistent presence, then he'd still be in Brooklyn. KD would still want to be in Brooklyn. They probably might have won a championship.
Because he barely even plays, and the Nets franchise appeared to lose control of Irving, who simply doesn't respect Coach Steve Nash. The fact that him and KD played just 44 games together in 2 seasons when both started the year healthy, simply an absolute travesty. A combination of being unpredictable, not knowing if he wants to show up to work on any given day, or get injured and not even make it through the playoffs healthy for half the time, the concerning issues, and failing to make it past the second round since leaving LeBron's Cavs, Irving continues to be the most polarizing figure in the association. Anthony Davis, supposed to be in his prime, hasn't been the same since the bubble. A monster first season with LA, played some of his best ball, and then mocked for his injuries, labeled Mr. Glass, always damaged, to being called soft and street clothes, even retired Kevin Garnett with his intensity, wishes the best for AD, challenged him to be a leader.
If I'm talking to AD right now, bro, get lost. Go to Hawaii somewhere. Straight up and down. When you come into camp better in shape than anybody and everybody. That's what you should be focused on.
When everyone got the word, Davis hasn't even shot a basketball since April, months before. Got bullied back to the gym.
I haven't shot a basketball since April, maybe April 5th.
Everyone's gotta accept Davis is more of a laid-back personality, got all the talent in the world, but simply not on Giannis's or Garnett's level when it comes to putting in the work. Laker fans better pray. After every fall, Davis does get hurt too badly.
I call him Anthony Street Clothes Davis, because he's always in street clothes.
Ben Simmons, described as a diva, prima donna, a loser, a quitter, a spoiled brat who's born with all the talent and skills in the world, making millions living a lavish lifestyle because he's 6'10 and can dribble a basketball with guard skills but doesn't put in the work for his lack of jump shot, the weak motor, to quitting on the Sixers and too scared to shoot underneath the basket under pressure. Many simply not buying his mental health excuses to being focused on suing the Sixers provided false hope for Brooklyn. After seeing the stat possibly getting eliminated in back-to-back games, Simmons didn't even attend Game 4, a wasted season, having a back injury, and didn't even suit up. His mental toughness continues to get questioned. Lots of interesting stuff awaits for the dramatic Brooklyn Nets. If Simmons just plays like his usual self, many will respect him again and call him superstar caliber, but now many despise him so much to the point they don't even want him on their team for free. Russell Westbrook, no idea how he can recover from all this hostility, drama, disrespect. Many even now so accustomed to calling Russell Westbrook, even by accident.
Russell Westbrook.
Points in the paint off of Russell Westbrook.
What I'm disappointed with Westbrook is
an hour of lowlights, breaking shots that's a foot away from the rim, and even Pat Bev, rated higher than him on 2K, we knew his game wasn't gonna age well, got all the blame for the Lakers' struggles. If he would have stayed in OKC and chased stats, would still be beloved. Laker fans aged 10 years watching a single quarter of dysfunctional, reckless, lackadaisical defense basketball. Laker haters had enjoyment watching that team self-destruct a season ago, talked about by the media endlessly, deteriorating athleticism super noticeable. Many view him as a negative for any NBA team, even Bill Simmons saying if Russ gets traded, we might see him play his last NBA game already. An extreme hot take. Of course, he still puts up triple-double like numbers, still gets too emotional, distracted, can't handle criticism from fans, loses control. Those negative aspects combined with his reckless style of play, unforced turnovers. Every time Westbrook gets discussed in 2022, it's not simply about his triple-doubles or any exciting dunk he has, it's about how bad he is as an NBA player. Given that fat contract, being the second highest paid player today, one more year with the Lakers would feel like an eternity for fans who might even give up a portion of their salaries to kick him off the team and even give him a free ride to the airport. That's how diehard Laker fans or LeBron fans feel about Russell Westbrook in 2022. I'm afraid heading into the 23 season, with the Lakers now having Pat Beverly, the worst is yet to come. One player I didn't mention, Julius Randle, simply because he's not as big of a name as any of these 10 guys on this list. Thank you so much for watching this video. Which one of these players do you believe unwrongfully heavily disrespected to the point that most of it not really deserved? Let me know in the comments below. I love all of you. See you next time.